Hello lovely friends, and a very warm welcome to another mixed media tutorial with me, Lisa Taggart. Today we're going to make this autumnal wreath. I've noticed that there are lots of people making them these days, so I thought I'd have a go. This one's called Abundance, so if you're interested in that, let's take you through the materials first of all. We're using watercolour card, the hot press version from Lavinia stamp. It's a lovely card. We're doing all our stamping with Pinecone VersaFine Clair. We're using truffle, mulberry, dark denim, olive, Sundance, and finally green sleeves to create the background colours. We're also doing a lot of masking this week again, and we're using our masking fluid. We've got some white gouache, white gesso would do as well, a large flat brush, also yellow and white gel pens and my pale pink Posca pen. And for the colouring, we're using the Zig cleancolour markers. I've got 3 tones of green. For leaves, we've got a blue, red and a lilac for the blackberries, some neutral colours for the catkins. There's greys, brown and a nice pale blending colour. We've got yellow and a very pale peach. We've got a couple of dark ones and a pink one for adding some autumnal colour to the leaves, and also a pale pink for some blending. I'll put the numbers in the description box below if you want to see those. Now for the stamps, we've got the beautiful catkins, fairy catkins, willow arch, we've got blackberry, winter berries, we've also got wild summer flower, oak leaves, which is a lovely one, gyp, poppy pods, and finally winter spice, which is really autumnal words for autumn. So if you want to convert all of those into something that looks a little bit like this, just keep on watching. So we've cut our card to 21 by 21 centimetres, so that creates a square. And in the centre I've drawn a couple of circles. The diameter of the largest one is 17 centimetres. And in the centre I have a smaller one at 14 centimetres diameter, and I just drew that by hand. The large one was the base of a lamp that I had, so just use what you have. A compass would be great. Now we're going to do the stamping, and we're going to mask as we go along, and pretty much follow the lines of the circles, but this is quite an organic wreath. Don't be too particular about it. They're obviously going to be a bit wonky, a bit like the ones that I make in real life, so that's what I'm going for, this kind of organic shape. And as I say, we're going to build up the stamping and gradually mask as we go along. So after the masking, I added that final corner of blackberries and then masked it as well. And now I'm just going to build up a couple of leaves here and there, only a portion of the leaves, wiping off what I don't need. and then of course we'll mask again. Now that all the masking is complete, I decided which way up that I wanted to have the project, and now I'm going to stamp in the inside of the smallest circle this lovely weave type border. Now I haven't inked up the whole stamp. I have wiped off the ends so that it doesn't curve around too much, and that way you can create a larger circle. So next up, what I'm doing here is I'm going to wipe off the ink from the top of the masking fluid, and so doing I'm going to activate the Elements ink underneath, and I'm going to create depth and shadow around the edges by simply using my baby wipe and drawing it along the stamping, and then that blends out the ink, and I'll carry on doing that as I go along. And there you see it all blended, and also then I've added as another poppy pod, some more berries and another leaf just for balance, and mask those off as well. Next up, we're going to do the background, and we're using the lovely Elements ink pads. First of all, we're going to use them wet with the broad brush, and then as the brush dries, we're going to do some dry brushing work to build up the texture. As you can see, we're now adding my favourite mulberry colour into the mix, and I suppose what I had in my head was this old vintage sort of autumnally coloured background. Could be an old door, whatever, where the wreath is going to be hung, and so I just wanted to sort of blend in darker, richer tones, but didn't necessarily want to use brown. So what's happening here, we started off with the brush being wet, and gradually it has dried out and the edges of the brush have flared out, and I'm using that to my advantage and doing a little bit of dry brushing really. It is damp, it's not completely dry, but what I found was then it created this lovely texture into the inky background, which I had dried in advance, so it wasn't blending in with the greens, it was sort of sitting on top. So after I completed this, then I did the same dry brushing technique using the olive ink pad just for parts towards the left hand side. And there you can see the darker bits added over the top, which creates this sort of vintage, grungy look that I was going for. I have to apologise at this stage, the wide shot of the masking fluid having been removed. I hadn't switched my camera on and I had started to colour in and zoomed in to do that. You haven't missed much. I'm starting off with the fairy catkins, which are sort of a grey fluffy type texture, and I'm using two colours of grey, and later on I add a little bit of pale brown to them and also add some of my white gel pen and mix that in, which I do off camera just to give them that sort of fluffy look. And what I'm doing here is I'm selecting an element of the wreath and showing you how I tackle the colouring for each category. I'm not going to make you sit and watch me colour everything in. Of course, this takes several hours, so this is the fun part. Do take your time with this. Once you've got the masking sorted and the masking fluid removed, you're left with essentially a picture to colour in. And so I'm using lots of greens and autumnal colours. For the little leaves, I'm going to mainly do a variety of colours in them. Anything goes really, starting off with greens but then adding browns and reds and rusty colours into the mix. And where I think the light will be hitting them, I'll use yellow as well. And the larger leaves with the blackberry, I'm going to confine those to dark green tones and keep those much the same for balance in the picture. And the blackberries, as you can see, I'm colouring those now. I'm using a mix of red and lilac, and later on I add a little bit of cobalt blue into the mix as well, and then you'll see me later add the highlights to the blackberries. So the catkins, of course, will be all coloured in the circle all the same. And in a minute or two you'll see me colour the berries, and what you don't see me do is adding a couple of dots of highlight with using my pink Posca pen and my white gel pen, and you'll see what effect that has at the end. So friends, that just about wraps it up for this week, and I do hope you enjoyed this project and it's given you some ideas to what to create in your own work. It certainly is unusual for me. I usually like to do scenes, but this was very interesting to create and I did enjoy doing it. So here's some of the little close-up details. As I said earlier, it really is a lot of colouring in and highlighting and making sense of it really, and making sure to add the dots of light. You can see there the berries, I think added some extra red to those to make them stand out a little bit more, and I added some pink Posca pen to the little poppy pods to brighten those up a bit. And I already explained that the catkins had some white blended into them as well. So just do what you fancy, do what you think looks good, and I hope you enjoy doing your own version. If you learned something today or enjoyed the video, please consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. It is free and I do appreciate that. Also like the video, share, leave a comment, all that stuff. Also, one way to support me certainly is becoming a member. I would really love it if you would see the links below and consider the details of doing that. Also, I have a website shop to sell my artwork and I have curated art supplies. But till next time, of course, take very good care of yourselves. But above all, get creating, be brave and do enjoy the adventure.